Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is Nicole with Made from Scrap, and I'm going to do a little walkthrough followed by a tutorial for this album that I made. I used the HomeRun paper collection and element stickers from Carta for this. I picked up this paper from the Country Craft Creations, and this is one of my design team projects. This album measures 7 inches wide by 9 inches tall, and the spine is 1.5 inches. So this is the front. I did do some stitching on the sewing machine, just layered up one of the cut-aparts here onto some artisan cardstock, and this is in my colors cardstock here underneath the red. That's one of the stickers from the collection and the paper, and then I just paper pieced this back section together with another one of the cut-apart pieces. So I'm going to open up this album. It is 3 pages, and then on the front and back cover we have this little piece here that I used seam binding for to keep it closed, but I also have a pocket in this top piece. I did that just by gluing underneath on 3 sides, but I used a tab punch that I have in my stash to create this kind of explosion page here. So this uses nearly a 12 by 12 sheet of paper, and this is the one sheet of paper, and this is the back side of it. So I cut it first and then flip those 2 pieces over, and then cut this apart for the diagonal. So this is very easy to make, and I think it's a pretty cool way to get some pictures into the album. You could also, you know, fold this over and put a couple of like hidden pictures or notes or that kind of thing on this side and this side, but I kept those without any papers on them. And then I also used some more of those sticker pieces throughout the album. So like here and here. Okay, so that comes back together very easily, and then this just ties shut. So easy there. Then we have the 3 pages, and these are all constructed the same. I got a little fancy with these tabs over here too. I figured that would be a pull tab. I do want to just let you know that when this is a tab on this side, it doesn't allow you to open up the page like this. So you may want to try a different way or fold the tab over or that kind of thing. But I did this, it's a pocket here on the bottom. So these are some of the cut aparts from the collection here. And what I did is just created an accordion. It's like that, so I can put photos and notes and stuff. And then we have a couple of flips here. And then of course this is the pocket. So this goes in here and helps keep those flips shut. Then this is magnetized here, and it'll open up this way. So you have a lot of space here for photographs and notes and, you know, ephemera pieces from the ball game, that kind of thing. And then the other thing that I did is pull it out this way, and you'll see that we have a lot of extra space here. So I used the sticker, and I backed this section of the sticker with some cardstock so that I could create a little tuck spot for some of the cut aparts. Then I used a piece of the pattern paper that I had cut off before and just glued it on 2 sides to create a little pocket for some of these cut aparts, and used another sticker here. Okay, so then that folds over that way and magnetizes closed. And then this is also a pocket page, so plenty of space still for other pictures and stuff to go in, and I think that's pretty neat. So this turns like this, and this is the back side of that front signature page, but you have another good spot for photograph, and then I just used some of the cut aparts. And the other thing that I used in this paper collection is some of the stickers, just a few of them, but from the 4th of July element sticker from Carta as well. So I think that that went well with some of the baseball theme. So here and here. So flip that over. This is some of that paper from HomeRun. Here is the second page. So we have some more of that, the cut aparts from the collection. And then that's just that accordion. Same thing here and here. So remember, these pages repeat, and this is the pocket. I'm gonna pull this open this way. You're gonna see, again, spots for journaling and photographs here. Flip it over this way, and I use the sticker and this awesome paper. So this is another pocket here. Flip it over, and I decorated this with one of those specialized papers that came in the paper collection. I thought this was really cool, and I wanted to have the map open up right in the middle of the album. So I did make this second page slightly different in that on the back side I went ahead and added another flap, which I'll go over in the tutorial, but this is a little angled pocket here so it can hold additional photos in it, and those are some of the cut aparts here from the collection. So flip that over, and I just decorated the back side. And then here is the third page. So again, one of those accordions with the flips here. And that's the pocket. And then we'll pull this open, and you see the pages here for lots of nice photos. Flip it over this way, and more of that paper and collection. So I thought this was really cool. I love the paper itself to use. It was very fun to decorate. This is the back side of that last page. And then I did leave this open here to tuck behind. And then same thing on this back side where this is a little pocket so you can have some tags coming out, and then you open up this and it pops open like that. So really easy to make, and I hope that you will enjoy this tutorial and then share the project that you've made in Country Craft Creations. So let's get started with the tutorial. All right, next you're gonna take a piece of your cardstock and just go ahead and measure it. It's gonna be just shy of 9 inches. You wanna have a piece that is wide enough to go beyond your spine and the gusset that you've created by leaving a little bit of space using the lay flat binding method from your spine piece to your cover piece, which is covered. So I have a little, about 1/8 of an inch here, space in between. So I'm gonna use this piece of cardstock that I have. It's 3 3/4 inch wide, and I'm gonna cut it down to just under 9 inches in length, like this. So just under 9 inches, 8 7/8 is good. And I'm gonna go ahead and cover this just like so. So I like to place glue on my spine here, just like so. And then I'm gonna center this. I'm gonna use my burnishing tool to burnish that down. And then I'm gonna go ahead and just run my scoring tool in that gusset there to get the paper to start to bend up. I'm gonna do that on both sides of the spine. Just like that. You want to have trained that paper a little bit, so then I bend it back and I actually place glue on the flap. I do not place glue in that gusset. That's the way I do it. I find that this works just fine as long as you've created that indent on your paper so that the paper doesn't buckle. Okay, so I'm gonna do that on this side as well. I'm using the art glitter glue that's available at Country Craft Creations. And I am actually using, I used a medium weight chipboard for this album. And this second album, I am using the lightweight chipboard, but I'm going to layer up my pieces on the front and back cover. So I'm going to do some layering, and that's going to create some thickness to the book. So I'm just kind of going ahead and training this album to lay flat and lay straight. I'm giving that a good burnish along the spine, and now you have an album. So we're going to start working on the inside pages at this point. So the front and the back inside of the album has this little pop-out piece. We're going to go ahead and work on this first, just like that. So I'm going to grab a sheet of 12 by 12, place this in my scoreboard. I'm going to go ahead and score this right down the center at 6 inches. Okay. Then I'm going to give this a quarter turn, and I'm going to score this again at 6 inches. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and burnish this, just finger burnish it for right now in both directions. And either you can, I have a line down the center of my scoreboard, right down the 6-inch mark, and I use that to line up the corners. You need 2 corners, so you're going to have one at 6 inches, and then you're going to have this score line here in the middle needs to be on the 6-inch mark as well. So I bend this paper up, and I go ahead and just shift the paper over so that this score line is actually right on that 6-inch mark. And I want to make sure to keep this top corner on the 6-inch mark. So with that being said, I'm going to use my score tool, hold the paper down so it doesn't shift, and go ahead and score along that 6-inch line. And you should meet right at that center point. Okay, and you can just go down your scoreboard all the way, because we are going to rotate this around and do it one more time. So place this corner up here at 6 inches, fold your paper back, and align the score marks that you made right to that 6-inch marking on your scoreboard. Hold this, make sure you hold the paper down, and you're going to go ahead and score right down that 6-inch line, and you should match up right to your center point. Okay, so now let me put the glue top on. Now we're going to set this aside, and we're going to go ahead and burnish on those score marks. So you should be able to put point to point here and burnish. You want to burnish all of those score lines at this point really well, so that we are training it to bend in each direction. Okay. And then go against itself, corner to corner, so that you have folded that in both directions. Okay. Once you do that, you should be able to kind of pull these corner pieces in just like so, and then push it down so that you have these triangular pieces meeting right at that corner, and then this one on top right at that corner. And then you want to give this a little burnish here along the folded edge again. So you should end up with 2 of these. You used a 12 by 12 piece and you scored it at 6 inches, scored it at 6 inches this way, and then right along the diagonal. Okay, so with that, we're going to take our book and what I would suggest is that you put your paper here, your decorative paper on first, and then you place this down. And the way that I did it was I glued on 3 sides so that I could have a pocket here. If you don't want a pocket, you just glue it all the way down. So if you didn't want this little tuck spot here, you could just glue it entirely down. The other thing that I did was use some seam binding to close this up. So I am going to select the paper that I'm going to use with the second one, and I will be right back. All right, so once you have your back sides of your inside covers already papered, then you're going to have these kind of explosion pages ready to go. I want them to open outwards so that it doesn't conflict with the pages that are going to be in the center. I am using this goldenrod seam binding that's available at Country Craft Creations, and I have 2 of these because I'm going to use these as my closures for this. They each measure 28 inches in length. So what I'm going to do is kind of just eyeball the center here, wrap this around the back side of my little explosion page, and I want it to be wrapped around about the bottom third of this, because I am going to still glue this down so that I can have a little bit of a tuck spot here. Okay, so I'm gonna hold this in place and go ahead and tie this into a bow so I know that I have it in the location that I want it. So let me just do that. Okay. Now that I have my bow, I'll flip this over. And what I like to do is use a little bit of score tape, and I'm going to just scoot this up just a little bit and place a piece of score tape across the back side. Just in the middle is fine. You know, I don't have it too close to the edges. I'm going to burnish that down so that it makes the backing easy to take off. And then I'm going to place the seam binding right over top of that. Okay, press it down. So you don't want to have the seam binding twisted up or anything like that on the back, so make sure that it's straight. This one is giving me a fit here, but I think we're all good there now. Okay, and now I'm going to use my art glitter glue, and I'm going to just glue from the top corner down right above that seam binding, just like that, in a U shape. And that's going to create the area where I can stick the tag behind. I'm going to place some glue just on top of that seam binding, and then on this bottom piece I'm going to go ahead and glue that down. So hopefully you can see that. Okay, this is open up here, no glue. So I'm going to turn that over, And then I'm gonna go ahead and place this down where I want it to be centered on my page, from left to right. Then I'm gonna use my bone folder here and just make sure to burnish that down really well. Okay. Same thing for the back side. I'm gonna go ahead and do that, but it's gonna work in the opposite direction here so that when this is down on the page, it will open outwards still. So you wanna make sure that you have a folded edge on the outside of your cover and on the top cover, the top, closest to the top of the cover. And this is an open side down at the bottom and the inside of your album, so that it opens just like that. Okay, so let me go ahead and do that second one real quick. Okay, so for your pages, we are going to start out with the base page. There's 3 of this, and it measures 12 inches by 8.5 inches. And on the 12-inch side, you're gonna go ahead and score at 5.5. Okay, and that's the only score that you have for that one. Then you're gonna have your base pocket. This is the page that's gonna create your pocket. And that measures 9.5 inches by 6 inches. And you're gonna score at 1/2 inch and 9 inches. Okay, and then you're gonna fold those 2 ends in. We're gonna take the base page, and where you had scored at 5.5, you're gonna go ahead and tuck that under. So now you're looking at the longer side here, and we're gonna take your base pocket and we're gonna go ahead and put glue or use your score tape, whatever is your favorite adhesive, and go ahead and place that on the flaps. Both of those 1/2 inch flaps right there. Okay, and once you do that, we're gonna go ahead and place this down onto the top of that base page, and you want to line up the bottom and the left-hand side. So make sure that those 1/2 inch flaps are tucked under, and you should be flush with the left, and you should have a 1/2 inch showing over here on the right-hand side. So let me pull that down into, and I'm going to go ahead and burnish that down. This is going to give you a tube for your page, that's your base page, and then you also have a flat page behind. Okay, so that's what we're gonna start working with. The next thing you're gonna have is your, what I call the front flap. So this front flap measures 11.5 inches by 8.25 inches tall. And on the 11.5 inch side, you're gonna score at 5.5 and at 11, okay? And then what you're gonna do is fold this over towards you to the right, and the 1/2 inch portion you're gonna fold back. So you're gonna end up with this type of Z fold. Now what's important is that this 1/2 inch flap, you're not going to put glue on the outside of it. You want to place glue on the portion that is tucked underneath. So I'm gonna place glue here on that 1/2 inch, or you can place your dry adhesive. And then what we're gonna do is that glue is gonna get tucked into, that 1/2 inch strip is gonna get tucked into this pocket. So here is our pocket, here is the back flap on it, and we're gonna tuck this right inside of the pocket. We're gonna just center it top to bottom, and you wanna push it in there just so that the edge of the paper pocket is right up against that fold line. Okay, so center it best you can, top to bottom, and then we're gonna go ahead and burnish that down. So now that's gonna make sure if you glued it correctly, you're gonna have that 1/2" flap tucked inside of the pocket, and it will be glued to the paper, and this tube will still be open, okay? So what that leaves you with, and let me burnish this real quick, is now you have the tube page there with the back flap on it. That was your base page and base pocket. Then we added on the front flap. It's gonna go like this. Okay, just like that. The next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and have our front pocket. So this front pocket, there's 3 of these as well. There's 3 of the base page, the base pocket. There's the instructions right here. The base pocket, the 3 of the front flap, 3 of the front pocket. So that's where we're at right now. This measures 6.5 inches wide by 4 inches tall. And we're gonna go ahead and score it 1/2 inch, 6, and then rotate it to the 4-inch side, and you're gonna score it 1/2 inch. Okay, and then for the pockets, those 3 pockets, you're gonna go ahead and cut out those small corners that are created from the score line. So you're gonna have 2 little squares cut out like that. Now what I do when I fold these back is I fold the sides under first, and then I place glue on the bottom of the side flaps. Oops. And then I will tuck the bottom piece up so that it glues down. Okay, and use my bone folder to go ahead and press that down and let that glue hold. Now you have a pocket just like this. Okay. We're gonna take that pocket and we're gonna go ahead and put glue right on those 3 sides, the 1/2 inch strips. And then we're gonna go ahead and place this down on the front of that front flap. So line it up with the right-hand side, and it should be lined up with the left-hand side, and it should be lined up with the bottom of that front flap. Okay, just like this. Burnish it down. Now you have a pocket in here. So here's your front flap. We can pull it out. This is your base pocket piece, and then underneath it is where you're gonna attach it to the hinge. And that has your flap on the back side as well. So we have this down now, and now we're gonna go ahead and have 3 of our double waterfalls. So our double waterfall measures 9 inches by 5.5 inches tall. And on the 9-inch side, you're gonna score at 4 1/4 and 4 3/4. And that way, when you burnish that, you're gonna end up with a 1/2 inch gusset, just like this. Okay. Now for the 1/2 inch gusset, we're gonna go ahead and place glue on that 1/2 inch gusset. And I folded this down so that you actually see a 1/2 inch reveal, but it's flatter because I'm going to be tucking this fold, the 4 1/4 inch fold. I'm going to be lining it up to the top of my flap page. Okay, front flap. The top of my front flap. And then I'm going to burnish that down. open this up, burnish it down. You should be able to flip this second piece back and burnish it down. Okay, this gives you a nice clean opening here underneath, and that way you should end up with your double waterfall, just like this, your pocket on the bottom, and then this will open up this way, and you can pull it out this way from the page. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is you're going to have 3 pieces that measure, let's see, they measure, this is the trifold insert, measures 12 inches by 6 1/4 inches. And then you're going to score on the 12-inch side at 4 and at 8. So this will accommodate your cards from your collections. These are the 4x6 cards. If you just trim it down just a slight bit to fit within this trifold. Okay, so I just folded this like a Z, and that's going to tuck right inside of this front pocket, just like that. And that holds this shut, and then you can flip and flap it that way. And the next thing we're going to do is open up this page to the left, and we're going to go ahead and place our magnets inside. So where are my magnets? Here are my magnets. Grab these. You can pick up your magnets from Country Craft Creations. But I am going to go ahead and take off the backing. One. Stick this down. I want to hold it away from the edge, about 1 inch, so that there's room for paper to get by. And I'm going to take off the backing of the second one. And I want to make sure to have that backing up so that these magnets can go together, and the sticky part is facing this other side, so that when I close this back again, I can just press, just like so. And then I can go ahead and open up this, and that was able to let me know exactly where to place, or where the magnet fits. And then what I like to do is go ahead and place some double-sided score tape over them to help hold them down until I get my decorative paper on. And then all I do is take off the backing, and then of course put my decorative paper down. So that is the base page right there, all put together. Now the next thing we want to do is let me show you, is the add-on. So the add-on page, I need to go ahead and cut that. Okay, so the angle pocket add-on, that is this portion right here. This is the angled pocket, and it is another flap to be added to the back side of this flap here. So let me show you. So I'm going to turn this page over. This is the pocket in the double waterfall fall, and you have this page on the back side, which is this page here, okay? And then we're gonna go ahead and glue on this angled pocket add-on, okay? So I'm gonna grab my cutter and go ahead and sheet. So that measures. Yep, I didn't even need to. 6.5 inches tall by 12 inches wide. And then once you've cut that, we're gonna go ahead and place that in the scoreboard with the 12-inch side at the top. Bring this into frame. 12 inches at the top, and we're gonna score at 1/2 inch. And at 7. 1/2 inch and 7. And then we're gonna rotate it a 1/4 turn to the right. So with the 6.5 inch measurement at the top of your scoreboard and a 1/2 inch down, you already had a score line. We're gonna go ahead and score down 1/2 inch. Okay. All right, so this is my angled pocket. The next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and make a slight tick mark. So on the, let's see, six and 3/4. Let's do that. Let's see. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna flip this over, and now I have my, the 12-inch side, I have my score at 11.5 inches and at 5 inches. And what I'm gonna do is, on the top, I'm gonna make a quick tick mark over at the 4.5 inch spot. And then down the left-hand side, I'm gonna go ahead and make a mark down at 3.5 inches, just like that. Okay, so I had flipped that over. So let's go over that one more time. 12-inch piece of paper by 6.5 inches. We're gonna score at 1/2 inch and 7 inches. Rotate 1/4 turn and score at 1/2 inch. Okay, bring it back to the original position and then flip it over. And then go ahead and make a mark at 4.5 inches at the top and 3.5 inches on the left-hand side. Okay. Then I'm gonna bring my cutter in, and I'm gonna go ahead and first place this paper down in my cutter, and my cutting groove, I'm gonna line up those 2 tick marks in my cutting groove. And then I'm just going to trim that off, just like that. So you should end up with an angle similar to this. Set that aside. And then you want to go ahead and cut off this long side of the bottom pocket. So let me show you here. This will be easier. We're gonna cut this little 1/2 inch off. We're gonna cut this next 1/2 inch section off. And we're gonna angle this last piece here. Okay, but this is gonna be cut and cut. See if you can see that. Okay, so where are my scissors? There. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut down the score line. And then cut it at an angle like this. And then cut it at an angle like this, just up to that 1/2 inch score line, so that you, once you're done cutting, your page is gonna look like this. Okay, bring this down into the camera. Just like so, okay? Get rid of those, and now we're gonna fold this back, like that. Fold this towards you. Hold this angled pocket towards you. Line at the bottom. Okay, and then go ahead and fold and burnish your 1/2 inch as well. So it should end up with something like this. Okay. I'm going to trim this since I cut it with a scissor. Just going to go ahead and straighten that out a little bit. Okay, so now I'm going to place glue on this little 1/2 inch strip here on the angled pocket side and fold it over and glue it down. Burnish that down. Okay, burnish this score line as well. I'm going to bring my page back in. Okay, I'm going to roll it over. And then this little 1/2 inch strip is going to get bent towards you. You're going to place glue on it, the side that's facing you. And then we're going to lay this down just like so. So the folded edge of that 1/2 inch strip is up against the right hand side of your back of your page. And I am just somewhat centering this top to bottom. Okay. And on the left hand side you should align as well. Okay. So now you have this pocket, this angled pocket. You're able to fold this flap over just like so. You're able to pull this over and have a pocket here. Able to open up those magnet pieces and have a large spread there. Turn the page back to the front. You have your pocket in the front with your double waterfall there. And then you get to open this up to the right and have a large spread there. Okay, so those are all your pages. And now the last thing that we're going to do is go ahead and build the hinge piece and place that in the book so we can put our pages on. And the hinge measures 4 inches wide by 8 1/4 inches tall. And you're going to score at every 1/2 inch. So at 1/2 inch, 1 inch, 1 1/2, 2, 2 1/2, 3, 3 1/2. Okay, and then what you want to do is fold your paper. Give it a good burnish with each fold. You can fold it back and forth, but you want to end up with a piece like this. You're going to have a valley and then a flat spot, which is your gusset, another valley, another flat spot, which is a second gusset, and another valley. And what we're gonna do is in those valleys, we're gonna go ahead and place our glue. Okay. And glue that piece down so that we've doubled up the thickness of that hinge. Okay, I'm gonna do that on this side as well. Glue that down. Okay, and now I'm going to do that with that center piece. I'm going to glue that down. Burnish that together. Open this back. And you should end up with your 3 hinges. It always looks like an E or a W. Right, there's your E or a 3. Anyhow, that is what your hinge looks like. And make sure that you work your hinges back and forth, back and forth. It's going to allow your pages to turn well. Okay. Okay. Now we're going to grab our book. And we're going to go ahead and place these hinges. Inside the middle of our book. So this is going to end up being glued on the back side, that 1 inch, and then placed down here. So it's up to you if you want to place some decorative paper down first or not. And I think I want to go ahead and do that. So, see, that's not long enough. Yep, I think this will work. I go ahead and use my pencil, make a little tick mark. Make another little tick mark. Use my cutter. Where do I have the cutter? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and glue this down. Just like so. Burnish that down. Now I'm going to place glue on the bottom side of my hinge. Those 2 1/2-inch gussets. Okay, I'm going to eyeball that to the center, top to bottom, left to right. I think it's good. I'm going to go ahead and burnish that down with my finger first, and then I'll go ahead and burnish that with my bone folder. Flip each of those pages, those hinges I mean. Make sure that they're working well. Okay. And that is going to be our page, where our page sits right on the hinge, just like so. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and glue this down, but I'm not gonna glue this one first because I want to do the last page. I like to do my last page first, and then my first, and then my move to the front. So I have this one ready to go. So what I'm gonna do is place glue on either side of my hinge here. Just a nice straight bead of glue. I'm gonna open up that pocket. I'm gonna slide that over that hinge. And I'm gonna leave about a 1/16 of an inch here, just ever so slightly the limit. I'm gonna make sure I've aligned the bottom of my page so that it's straight. And I'm gonna go ahead and finger burnish this down onto the hinge. Flip it over and then burnish there as well. That's my last page. And I'm gonna go ahead and do my center page. Open up that pocket, slide it onto the hinge, leave about a 1/16 of an inch off of the bottom of the hinge, line up the bottom of the page, and then finger burnish that down. And then go ahead and push with your bone folder. Flip the page over and do the same thing there. Okay. On to the last one. I'm gonna put this one on here and I'm gonna go ahead and paper the rest of my album. So let me do that really quick. I have some of it together. Place underneath here. Tuck that piece in just like so. Center it from top to bottom. Just like that. Place my double waterfall right at the top of that front flap. Make sure it's on there straight. Okay, there we go. Yep. Now I have my pocket page. This page is very easy to put together, glue together, and have a few flaps onto it and a pocket. And then you can move right to the decorating, which is what I like to do. Flip your page. And just like that. We have an album. All right, everyone, I hope you've enjoyed this, and I'm going to do a quick little I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial, and I look forward to seeing your projects soon. Don't forget to check out Country Craft Creations and pick up the paper collection that is Carta called HomeRun, and then a couple of sheets of your My Colors cardstock to match, and use as some base pages and artisan cardstock to boot. So thanks for watching, everyone. Until next time, happy crafting, you all. Bye.